Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the most viewed episode in the history of the X-Files, Leonard Betts, episode 12 of season 4. Leonard Betts has the agents investigating a paramedic thought to be dead, and Scully learns something that will change her life forever. The episode begins as paramedics, including the star of the show, Leonard Betts, are rushing a man to the hospital who's going into cardiac arrest. Except it isn't cardiac arrest, and I wish I knew what the hell he was talking about. The man is actually dying of lung cancer, but how could Leonard know this just by looking at him? What does he have, cancer senses? You know, like Spidey senses, but for cancer? Typical women drivers, am I right, guys?
Cancelled.
Alright, it was actually a guy that caused the accident, but are there ambulances made of paper mache? I guess the patient doesn't have to worry about dying from cancer anymore, but what about Leonard? He'll be alright, just walk it off, champ. Oh, or maybe not. I don't know how you can name an episode about a man who dies within the first 2 minutes. I mean, it's not like his headless body can just get up and walk. Ooh, I take that one back. This must be the hospital at Miskatonic University. The very lovely Scully and moderately handsome Mulder are on the scene, but I'm not sure why they're investigating something as mundane as a headless corpse leaving a morgue.
Pretty cozy. Who'd ever want to leave?
Well, whoever happened to get locked in here last night, I guess.
I love how from the get-go, Scully already thinks someone was just accidentally locked inside. How do you accidentally lock someone inside one of these cabinets? And the man had no head. It's generally hard to move around without one of those.
You're not suggesting that a headless body kicked his way out of a lattice morgue freezer, are you?
I think that's exactly what he's suggesting. What other explanation could there be? Did you miss the bloody footprints on the inside of the door where Leonard was clearly kicking to get out? Scully thinks the body was stolen to be sold on the black market, specifically for teaching cadavers. But are teaching cadavers generally missing their head? Leonard was picked up on security camera as he left the building, but wouldn't you know it, the system just happens to be really old and cut off the most important parts of the footage. So that could have been anyone, really. Scully brings Mulder to a disposal area where the hospital gets rid of medical waste, just on the off chance that Leonard's body could have been dumped inside.
Mulder, I think I'm gonna need your help. Your arms are longer.
Mulder, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just disgusting body parts. We're not talking about fire here. Mulder helps Scully anyways because it's almost impossible to tell her no. And like the prize at the bottom of a Cracker Jack box, they find Leonard's head. But where's his body? Mulder's had about as much of this human slurry as he can and tells Scully he's gonna check out Leonard's house while she examines the head. The head seems fine, nothing out of the ordinary here. I mean, except for the part where it's missing its body.
Oh, God.
You know, I'm not a medical doctor, but I don't think that's supposed to happen. Mulder's brought to his place, but it looks like someone may have beaten him to the punch. Best of the year, there must not have been much competition. Yikes! Leonard needs to hire a maid. I swear to God, if he tastes this mystery liquid, I guess it wouldn't exactly be his first time. Yeah, you would probably need a tub full of iodine if you were missing a head.
I did a PET scan on Leonard Betts' remains, actually 4 times now, and each time the images come out degraded.
Scully calls up Mulder to tell him that no matter how many times she does a PET scan on the head, the image keeps coming out foggy, kind of like the security footage they were shown earlier. Leonard would probably be amazing at beating traffic cameras. Scully tells Mulder about the head blinking at her, but she really has a hard time getting the words out, like she doesn't want to admit what she saw. Meanwhile, Mulder's grinning like a kid in the candy shop. Mulder places the apartment under surveillance with the local PD, but if only he waited just 1 minute more. Can Leonard just hold his breath indefinitely? The following morning, Mulder speaks to Michelle, Leonard's partner. They weren't very close, but she does gush about how good he was at his job, including how he could diagnose people just by looking at them, specifically cancer. Oh, that's Scully and her resin projects for Etsy.
Or you got yourself a nice paperweight.
At any rate, we should have some...
Leonard's head was basically mummified, so they can slice it and get a better picture as to what's going on, and what they discover is basically every cell in Leonard's head was cancer. Mulder grabs a slice of Leonard to go, and Michelle hears a very familiar voice coming from her radio.
Stop.
Leonard?
The agents bring the Leonard slice to their buddy Chuck so he can take what he calls aura photography. With it, he can photograph an organism's coronal discharge, which sounds disgusting. Thankfully, they just mean what the ancient Chinese refer to as qi energy. What I like to know is why Chuck places the undeveloped plate into the chemical to develop it, and then when he takes it out, he actually grabs the one underneath. Mulder and Chuck then act like giddy school kids when they notice the image is giving off an aura as if it once had a body. Mulder thinks Leonard is still alive, and this cancer he had is actually what keeps him going. Also, his chi aura could be what's responsible for causing him to regrow not just body parts, but an entirely new Leonard.
No, salamanders are one thing, but no mammal possesses that kind of regenerative power. I mean, there isn't a creature walking this earth that can regrow its head.
It's like Scully completely forgot about the man that tried to kill her and had a damn salamander hand. Scully gets a call, and Leonard Betts appears to be living a double life, as the fingerprints they ran brought up a man named Albert Tanner. So they figure it might be a good idea to have a chat with his mother Elaine, and it looks like they may have their man. Just one problem.
When did your son die?
6 years ago.
So either Albert has a twin, or the fingerprints are from beyond the grave. Because Scully can't even believe a grieving mother, she asks the old woman if she can show them his death certificate. Meanwhile, Michelle is trying to find the EMT that sounded just like Leonard. She finds him alright, but I'm not so sure he wanted to be found. Whatever little game he has going on could be ruined by this busybody who can't mind her own damn business. If you're gonna come back from the dead and get another job as an EMT, would it not make more sense to move to another city so the people you used to work with can't easily find you? Leonard injects her with something and gets caught by security doing so. But up until this point, he hadn't done anything wrong. So even if the agents had found him, what could they have possibly charged him with? Coming back from the dead? Well, he's a murderer now, so I guess they have something to pin on him. Leonard isn't exactly a star athlete and gets taken down by the guard, though the handcuff does little to hold him because Salamander Boy just rips his thumb off.
Siskel or Ebert?
Well, that's insensitive, Mulder. Siskel and Ebert both died from cancer. You should know better. The guard that caught Leonard did ID him as such, so Scully can't really skirt around the idea that Leonard is still alive anymore. But she does. The agents check his trunk and find a medical container full of surgical waste, cancerous waste to be specific, and Mulder has the gnarly theory that Leonard needs it to survive. So we've got liver eaters, fat suckers, and now cancer munchers. The car is registered to Elaine, so I guess they'll be paying her lying ass a little visit.
Elaine Tanner, we have a warrant to search the premises.
Oh, you're in trouble. Scully tells Elaine her son is now a cold-blooded killer and they need to know where he is. But she's all, my son's a good boy, he would never. In fact, he got beat up one time by bullies and didn't fight back, so that proves he couldn't kill anyone. I feel like Leonard could have a basement full of bodies and she'd still act like he's done nothing wrong.
It's very difficult because I just can't imagine my son doing that. He couldn't have done that.
Uh-oh, someone slightly coughed. That must mean they have cancer. Leonard follows the man outside and tells him he has something he needs. At least he's polite about it. The agents find a receipt to a storage locker along with a key and figure they should check it out. Elaine in the background is the worst actor, pretending like she doesn't know what that storage locker could be used for. Leonard is doing something. It looks like he's turning into the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know, this isn't even the worst thing to happen to Leonard. Mulder and Scully pull up to the locker and discover the body of the man, but not just the man, but also Leonard, who comes peeling out in his car. Can I ask how Leonard was able to get inside and lock it when the lock is on the outside? Holy hell, I'm not sure that's procedure. The man named John Gilnitz died due to massive blood loss. Mulder thinks Leonard cut him open because he likely had cancer, but good luck asking Leonard, he's a tad overcooked at the moment. Mulder and Scully argue about how Leonard Betts seemingly comes back to life, and she argues that his death 6 years ago, that's Albert's death 6 years ago, was likely staged. They exhume Albert's casket so they can put this whole thing to bed, but what's this? There's two Leonards?
Will the real Leonard Betts please stand up?
Alright, so there's two Leonards, but poor guys are built like a Ken doll. Mulder thinks the Leonard they have here was a decoy that was left behind by the still living Leonard after the car exploded. So Leonard's plan was to hope the agents would shoot at his car, cause it to explode, so he could get away while his previous Leonard skin that he crawled out of is brought in as if Leonard had died in the explosion. Well, alrighty then. Anyways, Leonard is regenerating in his bathtub of iodine with his mother, who basically offers up her cancer-riddled body so her son can survive. They've got a weird psycho-like relationship going on here.
What are you doing here? We got a call. Elderly woman, massive chest trauma and blood loss.
Mulder and Scully are scoping out Elaine's home when an ambulance pulls up saying they received a call of an elderly woman with a chest wound. Instead of allowing paramedics to do their job, the agents tell them to wait while they search the residence. They find Elaine, who has some surgical wounds on her, and can you guess what was taken? The call to the ambulance was made fairly recently, so he could still be in the area. Scully gets in the ambulance with Elaine to make sure she's okay, while Mulder has the area blocked off.
I mean, he obviously worked this thing out pretty well, Scully, so if there's anything you can get out of Mrs. Tanner tonight, anything at all, at this point we don't have much else to go on.
At the hospital, while Mulder is going house to house looking for Leonard, Scully notices some of that iodine coming from the roof of the ambulance. She calls Mulder down there immediately because she thinks Leonard is there, and she sure as hell was right, but why the hell is Leonard attacking Scully? He must be angry she didn't believe he could regenerate.
You've got something I need.
Excuse me? Man, Scully's martial arts training has really been paying off. Well, that was quite shocking. So is Leonard dead for good now, or is he gonna come back? Mulder tells Scully that Leonard is apparently dead for good this time, and that his mother had cancer, which is what Leonard had removed from her. None of this matters though, because Scully just learned something about herself that will change the rest of her life moving forward. I really like Leonard Betts. I'd say it's mostly a Monster of the Week story, but the ending definitely connects it to the mythology arc. The episode overall is solid, the special effects are good, and sometimes very weird. But that ending is really the most noteworthy part of the episode, especially if you already know what's coming. Scully's realization that she has cancer is heartbreaking, and when Leonard tells her he has something he needs, it sends a chill down my spine. Watching her wake up in the middle of the night coughing and with that bloody nose is such a hard thing to watch. With such a big reveal in this episode, the producers felt it would be the thing everyone would be talking about, so it was decided to show it on arguably the biggest day of the year.
It's this year's Golden Globe winner for the Best Dramatic Series, and tonight X-Files presents its most anticipated episode of the year, right after the Super Bowl, here on Fox.
The Super Bowl broadcast rights rotate annually among the major networks that air NFL games. Occasionally, one of these networks will use the post-Super Bowl slot to boost one of its new series. However, Fox chose to use this primetime spot for the X-Files, its top-rated show at the time, instead of trying to promote a new series. This decision paid off significantly, as Leonard Betts brought in nearly 30 million viewers, which was roughly double what the show would generally get. Originally, the episode Never Again was supposed to air in this spot, but the producers decided to switch this with Leonard Betts, as Leonard Betts was more of a straightforward X-Files story, while Never Again was a bit different and didn't have the normal Mulder and Scully dynamic. John Sheban, the story editor, explained that Leonard Betts was selected for the post-Super Bowl slot because it embodied key aspects of a classic first-season episode. The episode featured a blend of humor, impressive special effects, and a frightening story. Co-producer Frank Spotnitz explained that the concept of Scully's cancer had been proposed the previous summer but was initially set aside. It wasn't until the fourth season was well underway that he and Sheban decided to revisit it and develop the idea together. The seeds for Scully's cancer revelation had already been implanted by the writers back in the season 3 episode Nisei, when Scully visited with the women who had all claimed to have been abducted just like her. When Chris Carter told Gillian what they would be doing with Scully, she was excited. Not excited because Scully would have cancer, but it would give her something more to do than just being a skeptic anytime Mulder found something paranormal. Although because Never Again and Leonard Betts' air dates were switched, she would have played Scully a lot differently in Never Again, because as it stands, Scully basically acts as if everything is fine, when technically her character should be dealing with the cancer revelation. The Super Bowl time slot was seen as the perfect place to air an episode with such a thought-provoking ending. However, Chris Carter was worried that the complexities of the episode would lead to viewers not fully understanding it. I think it was pretty obvious what they were going for when Leonard told Scully she had something he needs, but Hollywood tends to see its viewers as dumb. And he was wrong, because once the episode aired, the internet exploded with discussion. The idea for the character Leonard Betts emerged from a concept that John Sheban had come across in a New Age magazine. The article discussed the notion of edgelings, humans who have evolved beyond their peers, gaining unusual powers that might seem weird in our present day, but could have some benefit in the future. Spotnitz explained that he and Sheban explored this concept together, wondering what would be the most significant threat to humanity today. They concluded that cancer was a pressing issue. They devised a character that evolved to the point that cancer was not only no longer a threat to them, but also something they fed off of. Gilligan, the third writer on the Leonard Betts team, was responsible for developing the character of Leonard into a more sympathetic figure. Leonard was portrayed not as a villain driven by revenge or anger, but as someone who killed purely for survival. Can the same thing not be said of Toombs and Virgil and Canto though? Sure, they played their characters in a more menacing fashion, but both killed simply because they needed to in order to survive. The role of Leonard was played by Paul McCrane, the actor best known, to me at least, as the guy that gets covered by toxic waste in RoboCop. To transform into the thin, bald EMT, Paul needed little physical alteration. However, preparing for the scenes involving special effects required significant effort. For the autopsy scene where he had to portray his own severed head, Paul had to lie still for hours while makeup was applied, and then hold perfectly still through the filming. Paul had to lay there for an hour and a half to 2 hours while the prosthetics were applied. Once the makeup was completed, the effect was so convincing that it looked like a real head was lying on the table. Kim Manners, the director, found it quite surreal and fascinating to direct what appeared to just be a head. The creation of Leonard's new head involved several challenges, including the use of contact lenses to give his head a pale, baby-like appearance. At one point, the lenses were accidentally inserted backwards, which caused Paul a lot of pain. The special effects for the episode garnered significant recognition, with Toby Lindala and Laverne Basham receiving Emmy nominations for their work. Lindala was particularly praised for the effect of Leonard's new head emerging from his old one. Executing this effect proved to be more difficult than they had anticipated. The sequence combined shots of Paul in detailed prosthetic makeup with a puppet of him from the waist up, featuring motorized mouth and eyes. When it came time to extrude Leonard's new head from the puppet's mouth, Lindala faced difficulties with the materials he initially used. Lindala had switched to a new material from Circle K silicone, known as their XP series. While this material worked well, Lindala discovered that XP actually stood for experimental, meaning the formula was still being refined. The manufacturer frequently sent new batches with slight variations, asking for feedback on their performance.
Leonard Betts.
That's his head.
Leonard Betts is a really solid episode with one of the biggest shock endings in the show's history. The episode currently sits at 8.3 on IMDb, and I would probably go with an 8 myself. Next up, while Mulder is on vacation, Scully gets sent on a wild goose chase looking for kooky Russians and UFOs. Instead, she finds a mysterious guy with a tattoo that tells him to kill women. He sounds like quite the catch. In the episode, Never Again. So what do you think of Leonard Betts? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today's Spookerinos. I hope this day is treating you well and stay spooky.
Tonight, when the big game's over, the suspense begins. After the Super Bowl, catch the episode everyone will be talking about tomorrow morning. If you've never seen The X-Files, this is the one show you can't miss. An all-new X-Files tonight after the Super Bowl. Parental discretion advised.